Fwed,
Yes.
how come you have your umbrella?
Why I bought my umbrella? Because I figured we were gonna go out in the rain.
Why would we go out in the rain?
Well, you said we're gonna be making galoshes.
No. We're making ganache.
Right. You wear the ganache in the rain.
No. Ganache and galoshes are two different things. Galoshes are shoes you wear when it's raining.
Yeah.
And ganache is a delicious, soft chocolate that you put on cakes, cookies, and crackers.
And that has nothing to do with the rain.
It doesn't.
Then why am I bringing the umbrella?
I don't know. Why don't you put that away and then we'll learn how to make some ganache.
Okay.
All right. Okay, did you get the umbrella put away?
Yes.
Okay, good. So today we are going to make a staple of baking. Now this is something that...
Staples?
No, they're not making staples
We're
either.
not making staples.
No, this is a staple of baking. It's something that you should know how to do if you're going to be making treats, especially if you're going to be making cakes. Now, ganache is just chocolate with some sort of fat in it. Usually it's cream or butter, and in our case we're going to be using both.
And it has nothing to do with the rubberized shoes that you wear in the rain.
Nope, absolutely not. Although it would be a very tasty dessert to have after it rains outside. So we could maybe, yeah. So maybe you could have ganache in your galoshes. But don't put ganache in your galoshes.
That would be very messy.
That'd be very messy.
Wish.
Right. So it's a soft, creamy treat that also holds its shape, so it's great for decorating. You can also use it to fill things like cupcakes, and we are going to actually make a cookie sandwich, sort of like an ice cream sandwich, but it's going to be a chocolate ganache, chocolate chip cookie sandwich. And today we're going to learn how to make ganache.
Ooh.
And as usual, it's only 3 ingredients.
3 ingredients.
Now our first ingredient in chocolate ganache is, of course,
chocolate.
Chocolate.
Duh.
Now, if you're using a dark chocolate or a bittersweet chocolate, you're going to use about 8 ounces. Because this is milk chocolate, I discovered after I started putting this together that I had to use 3 of these 3.5 ounce, which is 10.5 ounces.
10.5 ounces.
Of milk chocolate. If you're making this with white chocolate, you may have to adjust again. I'm assuming that because the milk chocolate already has some milk fats in it, it makes it a little bit softer. So that's why I had to add some more. So again, it's about 8 ounces of bittersweet or semi-sweet chocolate, or about 10.5 ounces of milk chocolate.
Oh.
Our next ingredient is heavy cream.
Heavy cream?
Yeah.
You're very strong then.
Well, it's not that heavy. It's just
heavy.
Right. So,
heavy cream.
Cream comes in a couple of different thicknesses. Heavy cream is what you would use to make whipped cream. So make sure that you don't get the light cream or half and half, because it won't thicken up your mixture as well. We are going to use 1 cup.
And you can't pump up your muscles with the white cream.
Well, it would take a lot of reps.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to use 1 cup of heavy cream. Now, a lot of recipes will just use those 2 ingredients, cream and chocolate. However, to get an easier, smoother texture, you can add in something with a little bit more fat, and for that we are going to add 1 tablespoon of butter.
Butter.
Yep. Now, because we're using milk...
Can you use margarine?
I probably wouldn't. The margarine is made with vegetable oil, so you're going to get a different taste and it's going to react differently. If you are going to use margarine, just make sure that you test it out beforehand in a smaller batch so you don't wind up wasting your chocolate or your cream. So we are using salted butter just because that's what we have in the house. It works fine for the milk chocolate, but if you're using a different kind of chocolate, you may want to use unsalted butter. And of course, a lot of people only bake with unsalted butter. So that's 1 tablespoon of butter.
Yay.
Let's see how to make it. We're going to start out by putting the 1 cup of heavy whipping cream on the stove to simmer, and we're just going to bring that up to a simmer. We don't want that to boil over. We want it just hot enough to melt the chocolate. Next, I'm going to take my chocolate and I'm going to chop it up just to make it easier to melt. And now I'm just going to add this to a heat-safe bowl. Now that our cream has heated up enough, I am going to pour it over the chocolate. And then wait for this to melt. It can take a bit of time, just be patient with it. You can let it sit and soften for a minute or 2 and then mix it all together. As you can see, as it's melting, it can sometimes look like it's not going to come together. Just be nice and patient with it, and eventually it will all become nice and smooth and creamy like this. Once you have all of your chocolate melted into the cream, then you can add your 1 tablespoon of butter. And again, we're just going to melt this in. It might take a minute or two. You'll want not to wait until it is cooled down. You want to add this in while everything is still hot, but you do want to wait until the chocolate has been melted into the cream so that the butter can melt through the entire mixture as easily as possible. Once everything is melted together completely and you don't have any lumps of chocolate or butter in your mixture, you can then set this aside to cool. If it's a warmer day or you want to take a little bit less time, you can always put it in the fridge. But remember that ganache, if it's too cold, will set up too much to spread or to pipe. So if you are going to put it in the fridge, either give yourself some time to let it come back down to room temperature after you firmed it up, or take it out of the fridge before it becomes too cold. Either way, it should just take a few minutes before it becomes a nice moldable or pipeable consistency. All right, this is out of the fridge now, and as you see, it is set up into a nice frosting-like texture. It's something between frosting and set chocolate. So you're not tempering a chocolate, you're not making it go back to a state where it can snap like a chocolate bar. What you're doing is making something that can be spread or pour, but still retain its shape as well. Now you can put this on as the topping for a cake or a cupcake. It would be very rich. You can also fill things with it, and that's what we're going to do here. I didn't feel like baking, so what I'm going to do is make a little sandwich. If you've ever had a sandwich, cookie sandwich from a bakery that has some ganache in the middle of it, it's basically a sugar bomb, but we're going to try it because we like sugar here. Now I don't have a pastry bag right now, so I'm just going to take a plastic bag and put that into a cup and fold down the sides, and then you can just spoon or pour your ganache into that. I'm not going to use all of it. I can save some in case I decide to make some cake or some cupcakes later, but I'll put a nice amount in this bag. This is just to show that you can pipe this. And if you actually have a pastry set, you can absolutely use that. Probably be a little bit easier than using a plastic bag, but I don't do a whole lot of decorating, so this is just a pipe. So now I have my ganache in my bag. Just going to twist that and cut the bottom. And now as carefully and as neatly as I can do it, which is not very carefully or neatly, I'm going to just make a little circle of ganache. You can see that retains its shape, and now you can make that into a very, very sweet chocolate chip ganache cookie. Now, even for me, this huge cookie with this amount of ganache in it would probably be a bit too much, but I bet Fwed could probably handle it. So let's see how he thinks it tastes. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, I thought you were going to make one for me.
You already ate that one.
I thought you were going to make another one for me.
That's what I'm doing right now. So this chocolate ganache is really delicious. As you see, we are making a second ganache for Fred, another one. I'll add another cookie on top of that. It is soft and light. Well, it's not very light. It is very, very sweet. This goes perfectly well on top of a cake. You can spread it on top of a cake. You can put it inside of cupcakes. You can make a chocolate chip cookie ganache sandwich. It's very, very sweet, so you probably aren't going to want too much of it unless you're an alien who has a really big sweet tooth, but it's absolutely delicious and it only takes a few minutes to make.
Yay.
Yay. Do you think that 2 cookies might have been a little bit too much for you?
What made you say that?
Well, you're a little jittery. I think you've had a little bit of sugar. So if you're going to have this, make sure that you have just a little bit of it because it is very rich and very sweet. Okay, we're gonna get you into a nap or something. So, can you help us out? If people enjoyed this recipe, what can they do?
They can subscribe.
Subscribe. If you subscribe, we make a new recipe every Thursday. It's made with just 3 ingredients. What else can people do?
Share.
Share. Yep, you can share this video. You can put it on Twitter, Facebook, or just tell your friends about this series. There are a bunch of other things that are happening on this channel, including George and Dog, who talk about self-esteem, and Sullivan Spaniel, who talks about trying to be famous, and then I think you have a friend coming who's going to talk about how weird Earth is. Yeah. Well, I don't think that Fwed can talk anymore, so we are going to take our leave. Thanks so much for joining us this time. We'll see you again next time.
I'm better now.
What was that all about?
Just making sure you were ready.
Don't touch my nose. Boop. Don't touch my nose. Okay.
You can't touch my nose because I don't have one.
No. I can touch your nose. Watch. Boop.
How did you know that?
I know a lot about aliens. Okay.
Achoo!